so we figured out some stuff with research.
Or from clinicians, or from lived experience, or other ways of knowing.
Yep, and now we want to take that and put it into action.
So we mobilize that stuff, and that stuff is called knowledge mobilization.
So far, so good.
And then we research knowledge mobilization.
Wait, what?
Yep, we use a different kind of scientific method to figure out how to mobilize what we learned, and if what we do actually works.
So we research the research?
Pretty much.
Why?
Because, well, it's...
I know, it's complicated.
So the first step is being very clear on the what.
We got that already in knowledge mobilization.
And then be clear on the who.
And the how. Don't forget about the how.
Yes, actually, implementation science really helps us figure out the how.
So far, we have the who that needs to do the what differently. And then...
And remember, we might need many who's who need many what's to make that happen.
Right. For example, that physio needs to change how they treat a kid with a broken arm.
Right. Getting systems or organizations or people to change is a process, and it's hard.
Which brings us to IS, or implementation science, to help us figure out the process to make that change.
So IS makes change easier?
Easier? This doesn't sound easier.
Maybe not easier exactly, but it should make the change actually happen, in theory.
Got it.
Yep, I follow.
So how do we know the how? Enter frameworks. A framework is a structure on how to think about something.
So it gives us steps to take and things to do to figure out how to make the who's do the new stuff.
So IS is about the how?
Basically, and making sure the how is working to make the who's do the new stuff.
I feel like I'm in an English class nightmare with so many who's and what's.
And remember, not all the who's are people. Some might be organizations or the government.
That's right. So in implementation science, we look at how to make the who's do the new stuff. But sometimes there are problems, and we call those barriers.
Barriers. The things stopping them?
Sometimes you have to make a door. That's where facilitators come in. A facilitator is any person or thing that might help get your who's to do the stuff differently.
So basically, looking at the barriers, what needs to be cleared away, and the facilitators, what will help the change happen.
Yeah, well, remember those frameworks? Well, we can put each of those barriers and facilitators into a framework and then figure out how to change things.
And then, each of those barriers can be fixed by a how. So for example, if the barrier is that the physio doesn't know about the new way to treat the kid with the broken arm, then maybe going to a conference and doing an education session might work. Or watching another physio who does know how to do it. Or take a class.
Or if it might take more time each appointment to do it the new way, the person who schedules the appointment needs to put less kids in a day.
And the bosses need to know they are seeing less people because that might affect money. Somewhere, somehow, if they get paid per patient.
Exactly. So each of these barriers can be matched to potential solutions.
For example, showing the bosses that this new therapy means they need more time in each appointment, but fewer appointments overall. Therefore, it makes sense to make this change.
You win! You mapped a barrier, the boss's belief about consequences, the belief that longer appointments overall will result in less money, to a strategy, educating the bosses that it will take less time overall, just more time at each appointment. Now you just need to figure out how you're going to educate the bosses, and then you're good to go.
And all of this work eventually leads to change at the snap of fingers.
Well, hopefully faster than 17 years anyway.
So, IS is researching KM. We need to know who needs to do what stuff differently and how to convince them to change. Then evaluate if they actually are doing the new stuff.
Yeah, that's a very good summary.
Clear as mud.
If you want to learn more about KM and IS, here are some places that you can look.